Get busy in here, get busy in here. Yeah, my squad run deep. Yeah, we really in here. I swear whatever you want, you can get it in here. Comedy or the drama, it's a mixture in here. But you love it in here, yeah, you love it in here. Got reviews up in here, we got stories in here. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit the bell, oh yeah. 3 clicks like the shoes on Dorothy in here.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy BusyBlu, and I am back. I'm headed home right now. I wish I had my notes with me because I want to talk to y'all about. I told you that I'm reading the book Power. What is this, honey? What is this, honey? This traffic is backed up. I told you that I'm reading the book Power, right? So let's talk a little bit about it. Let me see if I can get Tater Bay to send me a photo of oh sorry, Jolie's texting me. Hold on, sorry y'all, hold on. Let me see if I can get Tater Bay to send me my notes, because if I can get him to send me my notes, then I'll be good. Let me call him. I think you're doing this live on the screen. What y'all going up to? But yeah, so I can talk to y'all about the video. Hey, babe, can you do me a favor? Can you go onto my bedside table and can you take a picture of the notes that I did from chapter 2 yesterday and send that to me so I can talk about it on this on this video?
Yes. It's in your journal, right?
No, it's not in my journal. You better not open that book. It's it's on the table.
I didn't see it at first. Jeez.
You doing way too much, y'all.
Yes, I will send it to you now, baby. I see it. It's on the notepad, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'll send it to you now.
Love you.
Bye. Love you too. Bye.
All right, y'all. So he gonna send it to me. But I'm reading the book Power, and the book is really good. So basically, the book is about different ways for you to resource and think about how you become, how you gain power, how you obtain it. And the best ways to think about the world. I think what's great about this book is that I'm reading it in contrast with a whole bunch of other self-help books. I told y'all already that I read Atomic Habits, which has helped me a lot with thinking through how I'm going to maneuver through situations that I want to change. Like, for example, I want to work out more. I do have to go travel to work. Once the weather gets better, I'm going to bike to work. That way I know I have to go to work. I know I want to work out more. I always say that I can't work out because I have too much time. I don't have enough time, but the time that I'm spending going to work, I can be working out. So I need to stop saying that phrase of killing 2 birds with 1 stone is very graphic and disgusting, but being able to habit stack where I'm working out and I am heading to work. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. And now I'm reading The 4 Agreements. And this one is about agreements that we make with society and understanding these agreements and helping you with your mindset around how you handle yourself and how you handle other people. Right now I'm on the 2nd agreement. I think I'm doing the 4 Agreements book on my Busy Morning Cup. So you'll have to hear about that on the main channel. But what I am gaining from the 4 Agreements is that in the midst of us dealing with, situations that we deal with others in the book, Power, and how we relate to them, and Atomic Habits, and how I am looking at the word of myself, with the 4 Agreements is the agreements that we have with other people, the agreements that we have with ourselves, the agreements that we make with the world and this dream that we're in, basically. And working with them all together, it's been very fascinating and helpful to me, because I can stack those habits that I'm learning from each of the book and then really piece together when I'm doing reflection on situations or my friendships or just all different types of things. Last night I read the chapter, and the chapter was called Never Put Too Much Trust in Friends, Learn to Use Your Enemies. And at first I was like, what is this about? And this is only chapter 2. So again, I'm reading the chapter. No, I'm gonna say so again. I didn't say it before, but I'm reading a chapter a night. right before I go to bed, because I have done audiobooks recently, and they've been very helpful, and I can read them again. So I listen to the audiobook, and then I listen to each chapter twice so that I can soak it in. And it's been very helpful, but I do have a plan to go back to law school soon. And if I am going back to law school, I'm gonna have to be reading like actual books a lot more. So I'm trying to get back into the habit of reading long books, and the letters are, the font is extremely small. So I'm getting back into the habit of just reading again. And Power, I'm starting off slow with leisure books. Because soon I'm going to be having to be reading legal books, okay? Right now I read a lot of bills or legislation or grassroots advocacy organizing templates. But that's easy because I'm doing it regular. I know what to look for, and there are tools and resources that I can use in order to make it a little bit faster. Some of the stuff you can't do, and I need to get back into the habit of like reading lots of pages. So I'm trying to read a chapter a night. This chapter 2, is called Never Put Too Much Trust in Your Friends, Learn to Use Your Enemies. The gist of this chapter, and then I'm going to tell you some pieces that I wrote down that were very interesting to me. The gist of this chapter basically talked about how your enemies can actually be more of a benefit and loyal to you than your friends. This car knew it could move up just a little bit more. Your enemies can be more of a benefit to you than your friends could be. And at first it doesn't seem like advice you would give anyone, but once they got into the chapter, I was like, oh, okay, I see exactly what you're talking about here. Basically, your enemies, depending on how you communicate with them and how you bring them into your fold and how you want to use them in your structure, they can be a very good asset to you. For the gist of the chapter, they talked about how they become more loyal to you depending on how you show grace and mercy to them. Lots of enemies have something to prove. And in obtaining power, you want to be able to keep that power. And sometimes friends become too big for their britches because they become entitled by the things that you have provided to them or given to them, that sooner or later, now they want everything that you got, okay? Which they gave a lot of parts about that. One of the things that I have like 6 bullet points. One of the bullet points says, friends normally don't work as hard to prove themselves. So when you put some friends into positions, sometimes those friends, they just feel like they've just earned it, and you feel like they've earned it because of how much that you like them. So they don't work as hard to prove themselves at the job. At some part, and this is at the end of the chapter, they talk about how friends actually can make things worse because they don't tell you the truth when it comes to situations, so you don't hear their true mindset unless you have an agreement with your friend. This is where the 4 agreements come through, where you have this honesty relationship where, girl, I like to tell you the truth. This is not the smartest idea. But with friendships, you tend to not want to hurt their feelings, and the truth becomes something that becomes less applicable in friendships. Then friendships can become just a space where we lie to each other to keep each other happy and the friendship alive, and not necessarily telling each other the truth about everything that we do or do not like about each other, or decisions that were being made, or feeling like, I can run this or I can do this better. And with that entitlement that you bestowed upon them, and I think one of the things that they talk about is being mindful of how much power you grant. And it was this Michael versus Basilius, where Michael, I guess his uncle Batus, he was able to, and hopefully I'm saying his uncle's name right, Batus or Bacchus. His uncle made it so that he killed everybody or whatever the rule was, so that Michael could become king, right? Michael became the king, and then he didn't know what to do, but he wanted a right-hand man that was going to help him, so he chose his best friend, Basilius. And whatever Basilius wanted, Basilius got, okay? He just kept getting to it because that's my friend, girl. And they was ace boon coons for a long time. Soon, Basilius was like, bitch, I could do this better than anybody else, and wanted Michael's spot. But in order to get through Michael's spot, he had to go through Bacchus, or whoever the uncle was that gave Michael the spot. And Michael trusted his friend, so he had him kill his uncle. Then Basilius had Michael killed, and there it was. Because Basilius just wanted more and more and more and more and more. And since he didn't have to truly work for it, he was granted it. He got that taste of the power and all of that access, and he just wanted it more and more. And what was strange about that is that what's frustrating, but it's also a learning lesson, is that your friend, the way that you put your friendships in power, your friendships are important and you can trust them. That does not mean that they are always the best people at the job. And that does not always mean that sooner or later they won't want yours, depending on how you provide access to things. So being careful with how you provide that access. Kill your enemies with kindness. I think they talked about George Washington. Abraham Lincoln, I don't want to say it was during the Gettysburg Address, but it could have been, where he was saying that, you know, the South, they were just disgruntled people. Those weren't the words, but, you know, for lack of a better term, they were disgruntled individuals that we need to bring back into America, bring back into the fold. And I guess some lady from the crowd, you know, she was a heckler or whatever. She was like, F them, you know, why don't you just kill them? And he says, what better way to kill my enemies than to make them friends? Like, okay, what better way to kill my enemies than to make them my friends? Because then I don't have enemies anymore. I just have a whole bunch of friends. And they told this another story. Hopefully I wrote their names down too. And I did not. But he told another story about how making your enemies your friend can actually be more beneficial to you, because then those individuals will do the dirty work that you don't want them to do, okay? If y'all power up and team up, okay, by our powers combined, okay? They'll do the things that you don't want them to do, and then they'll, or some of them may feel like, okay, I've been spared. So you remove your enemies when you make them your friends. Then you just got a whole lot of friends. I thought that I think the last thing that I did write down here is that your enemies can help you learn from your and gain knowledge and experience. When fighting your enemies, when looking at their tactics, this helps sharpen your skills and ways to combat. Sharpen your skills and way to, you know, move your attention and to whoever your target is, and work better to be more skilled and be more good. And that way you move up to the top. Whoever your enemies are, see what they do and then find ways to fight to do it better. So yeah, I mean, it was a good chapter. I really like it. The chapters are not that long, so it was a really good read. They did say if you don't have any enemies, find a way to make one. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But that was one of the key things. You can learn a lot from your enemies. And if you don't have a way to, if you don't have any enemies, you need to find a way to make some, okay? So find your enemies, y'all. Who's your enemies? Go ahead and find them. Fight them. That's how you get power. All right, that's all I got for chapter 2 of Power. Yeah, if y'all want to know more about me and everything I'm going on, y'all tell me if y'all read the book. How y'all feel about that? Do you agree with those aspects of power? Of, you know, with your enemies? Or have y'all ever made an enemy one of your friends? How did it go? I would get nervous making one of my enemies my friend, because what's your angle? Because I know I have one, you know? If y'all want to know more about me and everything I have going on, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter, BusyBlu, no space, no E. You can also find me on Twitch, BusyBlu, where this is definitely not streaming right now. Yeah, I'm about to go get busy. Y'all stay busy. Until next time.